Hi, welcome to Someone Else's Movie, the original podcast where an actor, writer, director, or nebulous industry figure gives a little love to a movie they didn't make. I'm Norm Wilner, TIFF's Senior International Programmer for Canada, and this is The Other Thing I Do. My guest this week is Shayelin Martin, an actor you might have seen in episodes of American Gods and Workin' Moms. Earlier this spring, she made her feature debut as Goat, a trailer park kid in the 90s whose only goal in life is to surf in the ocean, even though she lives by a lake, in Caitlyn Sponheimer's Wild Goat Surf. It opened theatrically a little while ago, and it's available today on digital and on demand. It's really good, and you should see it. Shayelin wanted to talk about Mamma Mia, for Lydia Lloyd's 2008 adaptation of the stage musical Smash starring Amanda Seyfried as Sophie, a young woman about to get married, who secretly invited her mother's 3 former lovers to the wedding on a magnificent Greek island in the hopes of finding out which one of them is her father. That's it. That's the whole plot. But cast Meryl Streep as the mom, and Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, and Stellan Skarsgård as the old boyfriends, throw in Christine Baranski and Julie Walters as mom's best friend, and Dominic Cooper as Sophie's very charming fiancé, and set it all to the songs of Abba, and you've got yourself a sing-along summer blockbuster that drills itself right into your head. And maybe your heart. This is Someone Else's Movie.
I think it's like a feel-good movie, whenever you're feeling like crap, not good. It's something good to turn on. And I understand where Sophie's coming from, where she wants to find out who she is, and she thinks that's going to come by finding a family member. And I understand that, and I understand the journey growing older and sort of being adventurous with it as well.
Yeah, it's a funny premise for a movie because, it was a weird premise for a stage play initially. I think it was, if not the first, one of the first jukebox musicals where the story was built around a bunch of pre-existing songs and they had to figure out a way to come up with a through line. And the through line is so, melancholy and weird, right? Because these songs are so boisterous and bouncy, but it's really about someone who's desperate to know the answer to this question.
Yeah, but I think when it's when they add Abba into there, it makes it a bit better,
Yeah, every song kind of does tell you it's going to be okay. That's the thing about their music. They're very reassuring pop stars. Mm-hmm. But you need someone like Amanda Seyfried to enjoy the adventure, right? To know that she wants to know this thing, but also to have fun with it. The weirdest thing about the musical form for me is the ability it has to show you performers doing something outside themselves, their usual selves. And just because, when you the whole point of the musical is when you hit an emotional point that you can no longer speak about, that's when you start singing. And so it's always a leveling up. And sometimes you get what Colin Firth does, and sometimes you get what Pierce Brosnan does, but they're always in character. And in Amanda Seyfried, I realized is sort of like the mistress of ceremonies for the whole thing. It's her performance that sets the tone for everything else.
Mm-hmm. I agree, definitely.
So when did you first see it? You're a little too young to have seen it on the first run.
I'm pretty sure I was pretty young when I saw it. I might have been 8, 9. My mom loves the movie, and yeah, she just wanted to show it to me. It's because it's so beautiful. And when I was younger, there's parts like movies like Bambi or Pretty Woman where you have to get the kid to close their eyes and then fast forward. So yeah, there was a bit of that in there. But no, I was pretty young when I saw it, and my mom, she loved it. I remember her singing Dancing Queen all the time. And then when I was older, I think I did some more research into the musical, and I sort of understood the story more. I think when my mom was telling me about it when I was younger, I wasn't really focused. I don't know. And then when you're older and then you sort of understand what Sophie was going through, it makes more sense.
Yeah, that's actually exactly how I related to Abba's music when I was a kid, because the 70s I would have been, I was 2 at the beginning of the 70s, and it was always just sort of background noise. And kids can get into ABBA because it's all bouncy and happy, and then you gradually realize, oh, they're all like, these are couples singing about sad things, but somehow upbeat, and it's weird because, you know, it's the 80s and post-punk is happening, and commercial music in the States was very, very different, and I was supposed to be like, ABBA, they suck, that's disco. And it's like, they never really did suck, and it never really was disco.
They didn't suck. They never, ABBA never sucked. They could never make me hate ABBA. Never.
It was kind of the goth kids were doing it in the 90s, even in the 80s. But now there's room in the world for power pop and bouncy stuff. And you know, Boney M's over there doing Rasputin, which is just a weird song, but that couldn't happen without ABBA. And so the Mamma Mia of it all is, the film is now, what, 35 years after the songs came out, and it's still, like, everything in it is pretty relevant. And the ones that aren't, things like Waterloo, that's just silly and it's fun, and you can't hold it against them for finding a way to sort of shoehorn it into the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
The through line, that's the A plot, but it's less important as the movie goes on, right? Because but the trick of the movie for me is realizing that I don't care who the father is because they're all pretty nice guys. And there's no villain.
I think that's really what happens in the end. Near the end, I remember when they're all dancing to Voulez-Vous, and they have Sam, Bill, and Harry being like, no, I'm going to give you away. I'm going to give you away. And they're all so intense about it. And then later on at the wedding, they all stand up, and I remember one of them saying, I don't mind having a third of Sophie. And then it doesn't matter because they're just all there. They've all had a relationship with Donna, and now they all get to be there for Sophie. So it doesn't really truly matter who the father is, even though Sophie, that was her main mission, I believe. I think it doesn't really matter in the end because they're all sort of family, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah. Well, this is a film about building your family, right? Which is the most important thing for Sophie, and that she ends up with more of it than she thought she would. But she already had this huge support system, and she, you know, her other arc in the film was realizing just how important her mom and her friends were to raising her, and that you don't need a dad exactly. Mm-hmm. But now she has so many.
Yeah. I understand like a dad can be there, but you don't always need him, you know, like it's not really a staple, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice to have one, but I mean, I think a single mom can raise kids pretty well if, you know, there's the right parenting. And I think Donna did that pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is the other thing, too. The little underlying joke of the whole movie is like, why would you need anyone else if Meryl Streep is your mom?
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's like mom and dad. Like, she does it all. I love Meryl Streep.
Oh, yeah. She can literally do anything. And I'm loving this period of her career where... And it sort of started in the early 90s when she was doing stuff like She Devil and Death Becomes Her, where she'd done these huge Oscar movies for a decade, and she was in The Deer Hunter, and she was in Kramer vs. Kramer, and established herself as one of the premier screen actors of her generation. And then she realized after about 10 years that she could be having fun with that and play against her image. And by the time Mamma Mia comes around, that's another almost 30 years later. No, 20. It's another almost 20 years later where she's relaxed enough and confident enough that audiences want to see her in this. And when they announced that she was doing it, I remember her talking about the stage play after 9/11. She was promoting it and saying, like, this was a way to come back to the world and see something life-affirming. And that seemed like a really weird thing to say, unprompted, especially if you're Meryl Streep and it's post 9/11. But then you see her in this movie, it's like, oh, she loves it. This is why she's here. She wanted to do, like, this isn't trick casting. She's been trying to make this happen ever since.
Yeah, I agree. I think I saw her in Devil Wears Prada as Miranda Priestley.
Mm-hmm.
We just watched that in my careers class at school. My guidance teacher, she just put it on. It was amazing. And then I watched Mamma Mia a few nights ago again because I'm obsessed with it. And then it's I love seeing the drastic difference between the two characters. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Shameless with Emmy Rossum.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because you see her and then you see she plays like Christine Daae. She plays Fiona and Christine Daae, and those are two like completely different characters, and it's so cool to watch like after they have this whole different setup.
Yeah, it's the miracle of acting, right? Like, it's not out of the ordinary, but it's extraordinary when you see it, especially when you see it working exactly as it's supposed to work, which is the thing that I think like Emmy Rossum can do it. Streep does it almost all the time, which is that she, in comedies at least, and in these musicals, she lets you in on how much fun she's having
Yeah,
while still maintaining a character. And
it's
with,
believable.
yeah, but it's natural. Like you don't, there's no artifice, there's no indication. Like she's not telling you, she's showing you. And just the way she'll do some weird physical thing like stop and giggle or move forward, and the duet again, the thing that I remember most honestly from the first time I saw Mamma Mia was watching. How can I put this? I don't mean to make this sound mean, but the duet between Sam and Donna, between Pierce Brosnan and Meryl Streep, where for whatever reason his Brosnan's understanding of his own instrument is that he is not a good singer, and so he will bellow. And it's fun. It's really fun because you're watching an actor who is so suave and so composed. No, he can't do this, and just go for something else. And I remember people complaining about it, like in the theater when it was happening. People were flinching. They were surprised by the projection. And I would try to do it, but it would be mean, and also I would blow out the mic. But he is absolutely. Like the call and response on SOS, when you're gone, and she sings it lightly, and he just blares it right at her. He's yelling in her face, and there's a moment in the performance in that number. There's a moment where Streep's smile gets bigger because she knows what's happening, and she's into it, and it's fun, and it is just so weird and unexpected. And I burst out laughing. The audience is like, they don't know what to do with it because it's so loud, and Brosnan's just right there yelling. It's my favorite moment in the movie because it feels like life. It feels like these two friends are reconnecting, and also she's really happy to see he's comfortable yelling in his song. Like maybe they sang before, we don't know. I mean, the history gets filled in the next movie, but it's just this. I've never seen a moment like that in a musical where there's just this tiny little, it's not a wink to the audience. It's just like, this is fun. And then she just jumps right back into the song. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't see so much as yelling. I think maybe just like being a bit more like prepared to get into the song. I mean, when I talk to my friends about musicals, I'm like every time I want to show them a movie, they're like, "Oh, is it a musical?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And the thing they don't like about it is that they're so ready to get into a song. They're like, "Oh, is it another song again?" And it's like, yeah, but that's the beauty of it. Like that's what a musical is. Like if you see Les Mis, they're talking about some pretty dark stuff in there, but they make it so pretty with these minor chord shapes and these and then happy moments and I just don't think a lot of people really understand the beauty of musicals. Like you can be talking about something really dark or really happy, but you have music in the back to go with it to make it more passionate and make you understand it more. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm thinking of something like Cabaret, which we just revisited a few months ago, and how kind of gracefully that deals with fascism and how everything about it from the stage play to the film is still utterly relevant now, but the songs get stuck in your head, and so you're not thinking about the rise of the Third Reich. You're just trying to enjoy it. And then, of course, the brilliance of that movie is that it snaps the mirror around and shows you exactly where all this is going. Les Mis, yeah, Les Mis has huge emotions running around in it, surging back and forth, and Mamma Mia is one of those shows where I think the nature of the jukebox musical, the same way it did with the Twyla Tharp Billy Joel when moving out, or with Rock of Ages, it's like it's okay to have fun with this. There are no real stakes, and everybody's going to be okay in the end. And it's a comfort food kind of musical, but you can still make those count. You can still make them feel real and relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's a getaway movie. You know, like it's basically like going to a vacation wedding or destination wedding. You're just experiencing all this exoticism in the food and the settings and the locations and the clothes, and you can just lose yourself for a couple of hours and nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, it's I don't know, whenever something doesn't go your way, whenever there's like a minor inconvenience, I'll turn on a musical and and it makes everything feel better. But yeah, it's just like a feel good movie.
Yeah. Do you have other go-tos?
Oh my gosh, yes. Definitely, I know these aren't like quote unquote feel good movies because they're a bit dark, but they still, I don't know, something in them like Sweeney Todd.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I love watching that with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter. Oh my gosh, I love Helena Bonham Carter. She's amazing. Or like the Harry Potter movies when she performed as Bellatrix Lestrange. That
Right.
was fucking incredible. Sorry. Um, oh, Interview with a Vampire. That one is really good too.
As comfort food?
It's not comfort food. It's not comforting. It's like you see it and it's just so there. And it's like, I don't know. Sorry, we're talking about comfort things.
No. Whatever you want to talk about. It's your episode. If there's stuff that you return to, that's totally fine. I mean, it's actually, the thing I like the most is finding out what people do turn to and how they process movies. So the things that you use as touchstones. I'm just quietly also trying to figure out a through line between Mamma Mia, Interview with a Vampire, and Sweeney Todd. All I can think of is I know Kirsten Dunst auditioned for the role of Sophie, but that's about it.
Oh wait, oh my gosh, I don't even know that. Wow.
Oh yeah, no. I have a list here. It's fascinating who was up for it. Amy Adams, Brittany Murphy, Busy Phillips, Evan Rachel Wood, Jessica Biel, Kirsten Dunst, Leighton Meester, Mandy Moore, and Zooey Deschanel were all up for it, and a couple of those people are serious singers.
Oh, I really would have loved to see Leighton Meester. That would have been great.
Hey, it's Norm interrupting my own show to bring you up to speed on Shiny Things, my newsletter about physical media, culture, and the odd streaming project. Last week I wrote about the new releases of Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire, and The King Tide, which have pretty much nothing in common but are both very satisfying on their own respective terms, and they look great on disc. Sign up for a 14-day free trial at shiny-things.ghost.io or find a link at the Semcast Blue Sky account. You like reading about movies? I like writing about them. Come check it out. I don't know who better to play Meryl Streep's daughter, though, than Amanda Seyfried. Like, they find a common thing. I mean, they're both kind of physically similar, but yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, Evan Rachel Wood probably would have done it, but Seyfried's just great casting.
Yeah, she is. I saw her in a movie called Things Heard and Seen. It was a horror movie. I think it
Oh, I don't
wasn't.
know it.
Yeah, it was. She ended up like getting murdered in the end, but it was like it was still so good. I don't know, like I said, it's just really interesting seeing the actors play one role that can be really that can have so much depth to it, and then another role that's a little more bubbly and, you know, lighthearted, and it's really interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, how about yourself? I mean, this is a pretty prominently featured role. Wild Goat Surf. You're playing the titled role. You are required to carry a lot, but I know that's not all you can do. Like, it's one of those things where that performance, and Caitlyn and I were talking about this last year. It's like one of those moments where it's just like, I want to see more of this person. I want to see where she goes. Both you and Goat, because there's definitely. I want to make sure I'm right about this. Caitlyn had said that you'd never surfed before you made the movie. Is that right?
I've never surfed. I've d- this sounds weird, but I've seen my cousins in California and I've done like boogie boarding, but that's not really even close. It's just like I don't even know what it is. It's fun. But no, I've never surfed or skateboarded before.
Did you go to boot camp? Is that the kind of thing you had to learn quickly, or?
Yeah, it was kind of like boot camp. I went to this place in Toronto called Skate Loft, and I went there. God, it wasn't like every day of the week, but it was summer, so you could go there pretty much whenever you wanted. Um, and yeah, that's where I first learned to skate, and I started doing it like around my neighborhood too,
Hmm.
because I didn't real there's not really many like treks or places like we're not really in the city kind of country, I guess, but not really. So there's not many places to go skateboarding. It was just sort of like around the neighborhood. We live in the suburbs near the country, so yeah, you had to make do with what you could.
Yeah. What was the learning curve like? Is there a trick? Is there something that you can fall back on? Because it's pretty convincing in the film.
Yeah, I don't really think there is a secret. I think probably having people around you who are tough people and who can handle things like falling and I'm sure much more. Um, I think yeah, that's something important. Having someone around you who's going to motivate you and make you feel good about things when you accomplish them. Um, like I knew a few of my friends there. I met a few people like there was a person named Brett and Michaela, and then someone else named Zoe, and all three of them were amazing. And I remember being able to drop in for the first time. It's when you're at the top of a ramp and you just kind of swoop, and then they all like clap for you and everything. And I didn't think the skateboarding community would be that supportive. I don't know. When I was younger, I was sort of afraid of that. I really don't know. I was afraid of loud things like people with big hair or skateboards. I don't know. But then when you grow older, you get introduced to those things more, and those people are nice. So you're proven wrong, and it's good.
Yeah, this is like what I was saying about the goths who were rejecting Abba songs when I was a teenager. They have their own stuff, and eventually you grow up enough that you don't need your fear to be the thing that keeps you from doing something. You can just sort of find something new and find out that the people are actually pretty welcoming most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was younger, I saw myself as a very soft person, and I still do. But when you see like goths or punk people, you meet them and they're actually very like accepting too.
Yeah, well, and that's a difference. Goat's pretty hard. Goat is not soft. Goat doesn't see herself that way at all.
Yeah, goat is um goat is a bit more tough than me as a person. But yeah.
Okay, so here's the important question: does Goat watch Mamma Mia? Does she like? Does
I
she
don't
have a favorite
think so.
movie?
No, I don't think she would watch Mamma Mia. I can see I can see Jane introducing her to a lot of the 90s movies. I don't know. Um, like there's a movie called White Men Can't Jump. It was
Hmm.
something like that, and I could see Goat watching that. I don't remember all of it, but I remember some of it. But
It's a
no,
lot of trash talk, if I remember correctly, between Woody and
yeah,
Wesley, right? That's how they sold it.
I don't think Goat would really be into musicals as much as I am. I mean, she would maybe not like it knowing the character.
Right. I can just see her watching it for the water, just kind of looking at it at the sea and getting restless.
Yeah, exactly. I see
Yeah.
that.
Make a musical at a Point Break. She was there on the day.
Yeah.
I usually end the podcast with the weird question of if there's anything from the movie that you picked that you've tried to incorporate into your own work. I see music stands and pianos and things all over the background here. Are you chasing a musical? Is that the kind of thing you'd ultimately want to do?
Oh my gosh, I would love to go on do like West End Broadway stuff. That would be amazing. I'm actually studying for my RCM exams right now at some Royal Conservatory of Music. So doing that. Um yeah, but I do dabble in singing and guitar and piano. Um but it would be amazing to do a musical. Like my God. But I can't dance for shit. Sorry. I just I'm not a dancer. I'm great at singing. I'm not boasting, but I do think I'm a good singer. Um but it would be amazing to do a musical. It would be so much fun. Like my acting coach, she did Legally Blonde with some of her friends.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've seen the movie version, not the musical, and it's just I don't know, it's so cool. I love seeing actors and then doing a role which is completely different from themselves. And it's yeah, I've said it a million times, but it's so interesting.
It is. No, it's the magic trick. It's the thing that keeps us coming back and wanting to see
Yeah.
what they can do next. And if you can't dance, you can Brosnan it. You can just, find a way to make it bravado rather than
Yeah.
dexterity.
Probably cater to roles with less dancing because I'm not really a big dance person. Um, but no, I am good at singing and instruments. So yeah,
Limited
that's
footwork, maximum voice.
yeah, I did I did a bit of dance when I was younger. I did like acro, ballet, jazz, tap. It was a lot. But then my body started to stiffen up. When I was a baby, I used to be very, very flexible, but now I'm not anymore. I'm only 16 and I feel like I have the flexibility of like an 82-year-old. It's like it's not good. I have to start doing that, being more flexible. Yeah, that's one of my goals.
Yeah, no, best of luck, honestly. I'm really like Mean Girls doesn't have a lot of dancing for Katie. You could do that.
True. True. Oh, I love mean. Have you seen Renee Rapp? Like,
Only in the movie, I think.
okay,
Right? She plays Regina?
she's in the remake.
Right, the musical.
The remake. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen Renee Rapp perform as Regina, and she just is amazing. I
Yeah,
love
no,
her.
she was I was really impressed with that. I was I missed it when it came out because I was working, but then the Blu-ray showed up and I watched the movie and I was all kind of wincing. It's like we don't need a musical remake of oh, this is actually pretty smart and it's really fun. It's a
Yeah.
there's a YouTube, it's on YouTube. There's a clip of the full sequence. They just released it of the Sexy Halloween song.
Oh my God, yes.
It's so smart. I mean, in the context of the film, it's even better. But it's just one of those things where it's like this is a musical that is designed to be chunked up and TikToked and everything else, but it works as a through line. It's an adaptation of an existing property. It's one of the rare times, like Mamma Mia, I guess, except that it's the opposite because that's jukebox and these are original songs. But the idea that you can take something that pre-exists and make something completely new and generationally reinvent it, yeah. And also, it's good.
Yeah, at first I was unsure. I was like, why are we
Yeah, why bother?
yeah, I just didn't understand it. It wasn't like why bother. I just didn't think it was going to be amazing. But then I saw clips of it, and then I saw clips of like Renee Rapp being interviewed, and I was like, okay, so there actually is a thing to it. Now I get what the hype is about. So then I understood it. And seeing people who write musicals themselves, like Andrew Lloyd Webber, or like Lin-Manuel Miranda, how he wrote Hamilton.
Hmm.
They're just ordinary people. But then you see what they've written and what they've done, and it it's just something much more grander than what you see. I don't know. Like that, I'm not saying I'm not saying they're shabby people. I'm saying they're
No,
good
no.
people. I'm saying like it's just it's so interesting seeing what's going on in someone else's mind and then seeing that being put into a musical.
That's it. When it's articulated by, 20 people on stage in a full orchestra, it's so immediate, and it's especially seeing something live instead of on film. There's nothing quite like that.
Yeah, I just saw Les Mis with my school live, and oh my God, it was so good. It was amazing. Um, Especially when Gavroche died at the barricade. That was that was awful. I cried through the whole thing. And some of my friends, they're a bit immature and they laughed when the little boy died. And it's like, how can you laugh when little Gavroche is dying? You can't. And it's just it was so good. And the lights went out and then they had like the gun noises and then you could see like booming at the front of the stage and it was amazing. And I think they used like real fire on the stage with the torches and everything when I don't remember what act it was, but I think it was when uh Jean Valjean had gotten caught for stealing the silver. They had like tossed him onto the floor and they were all like chasing after him with torches and it was brilliant. It was so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always want to write off Les Mis because the book is so serious and the film is, I mean, it's equally serious, but it's so grandiose. And then I always think about what South Park does with it in the bigger, longer, and uncut musical. There's a number that is just straight out of Les Mis. It's the end of Act Two, where all the various songs come together in some huge martial medley where they're all preparing to go to war. And I think it was Matt Stone. It was Trey Parker's writing and producing partner who said that Parker dragged him to see Les Mis before South Park was even a thing, when they were just friends. They went and saw Les Mis, and he said, I have no idea. I thought I was going to experience this ironically. And then I turned to Trey and he's crying in the first 10 minutes because he's so committed. I think you need to love something that much to be able to make this thing, to be able to make other musicals that way.
Yeah, exactly. I just even Mamma Mia made me cry like when like slipping through my fingers. That made me so sad. Um but no, I had cried through the whole musical in Les Mis because it was just it was beautiful. And I told my friends, imagine if every moment in your life was a musical. And they sound so annoyed by that. And but the thing is, I would love it. Like I would just like you would have a ballad and then you would have like a happy song and then there'd be so much depth and it would uh, I don't know. I would love my life as a musical. That'd be so cool. I would love that.
It would be an interesting way to live. Would everyone else hear it too? Like, do people have to participate?
Yes, for sure. I told one of my teachers and she's like, "Oh, I think that'd be a bit stressful." And it's like, what? It's not really stressful for a person who wants to do that sort of thing, who wants to be in musicals. I don't think it's really stressful for a person who admires those things.
Just for people who get in, I guess I always think about the Buffy musical and how people mention casually that they got roped into a dance along the way, that it wasn't their number. I would think, it would be kind of frustrating if you're not the main character. But I guess if everyone is doing it, then everyone is the main character all the time.
Yeah, like it would just I haven't really thought about that, but I just thought about I just thought about my life and just singing through my life. I just haven't really thought about roles, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you get to be whoever you want in this scenario if it's your musical.
It's true. Like I heard a quote like your life is a movie and you're the director. It was like something like that. And then I was like, okay, but that's so true because it's your life and you can make the choices of your own life. And I don't think you can rewatch your life. I mean, if you could, that'd be amazing to see the choices that you've done. But like, no, life is a movie and you are the creator of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to know the structure of my life as a movie because the third act is going to suck. It always does, and so I don't. Like there's that third act tragedy before you get to the joyful finale, and I don't want to know that's coming.
Yeah, there would be like multiple third acts. There would be a lot of third acts, but then a lot of happy endings too.
Yeah, just keep the encores coming.
Mm-hmm.
My thanks to Shayelin Martin, who you can now see in Caitlyn Sponheimer's Wild Goat Surf on digital and on demand. Thanks also to Alia Stationwala. She knows what she did. You can find Shayelin on Instagram at ShaylinErica_May, or maybe just search for her, and you can find Mamma Mia on 4K Blu-ray and DVD from Universal Studios Home Entertainment and streaming on Prime Video in Canada and Max in the US. It's also available to rent or buy on various VOD services across North America. You can find me on Blue Sky at Norm Wilner, and you can find this podcast there at Semcast, SEMcast, and on the web at someoneelsesmovie.com. The first year of the show is still available for just $20 at payhip.com/Semcast. That's the first 52 episodes of Someone Else's Movie, 44 of which aren't currently available anywhere else. And check out my newsletter, Shiny Things, at shiny-things.ghost.io. I think you'll enjoy it. Our theme song is by The Last Year. If you like it, or the show in general, please say so. Leave a review wherever you've been listening. Every little bit helps. It truly does. And check out the other shows on the Frequency Podcast Network while you're doing that. Stay safe, watch movies, wear a mask if you go out, get the new booster when you can. I'll see you next week.